Hey guys, let's talk about tonight's episode of Arrow, and it's official. Oliver is now Alsahim, the heir to the demon. Oh wow, what an episode! So we picked up where we left off with Thea reaching, crawling on the ground, bloody, after being stabbed by Ra's al Ghul, and she's trying to reach for her phone, and Oliver comes in. He takes her to the hospital. She flatlines. They bring her back to life, but she's basically in a coma. And obviously Oliver realizes that the only place he can go to save his sister's life is Nanda Parbat, and he has to take her to the Lazarus Pit. And of course, Malcolm Merlin is like, yeah, that's the only place that will be able to save your sister, because that's pretty much the one place where Ra's al Ghul has used and has been able to be alive for hundreds of years or 100 years or whatever. So, of course, nobody wants to co-sign this agreement, which is Felicity and Diggle. But let's face it, his sister is on death's door, and he has to do whatever he can to save his sister's life. Yeah, pretty, pretty crazy. So, we start off right off the bat with everything's frantic. Oliver can't believe what's happened. His sister, tried to ridiculously fight Ra's al Ghul, but of course, if someone's attacking you, you're going to try to stand your ground. But let's face it, she was going to lose that fight no matter what. So, Oliver now has to make that decision to go to Nanda Parbat, and of course, Felicity is standing her ground. She's basically telling Oliver that she's going to go with him because somebody has to be there to bring Thea back once she's been resurrected, basically. And Malcolm warns Oliver that be careful because the water has some, obviously some mystical powers, and once you go in there, you're not going to return back the same way you were. So the Thea that you remember is not going to be the Thea that is going to come out of this. So Oliver's like, yeah, I really don't care. I need to save my sister. So he takes her, and of course we see the army, the League of Assassins, all lined up outside. And I was like, all that ran through my head was, guess who's coming to dinner? It was just, I don't know why I thought about that, but just the way they walked up and everybody was just standing there, it was just a sight to see. So of course, Roz brings them in, and he's telling him like, let's prepare for the ceremony. So of course, Diggle and what's his name, Maceo, have an interesting conversation where Maceo's pretty much like, look, I hope you like these digs. This is going to be where Oliver's going to be staying and blah, blah, blah. And, Diggle's basically like, look, you had a kid. Would he be proud of you right now if he saw what you are doing? Like, you basically have forced Oliver's hand by practically killing his sister to get him here. And obviously that conversation holds weight because we see what Maceo does later on in the episode by helping the rest of them escape through the catacombs. So yeah, I mean, it was a very good episode. So of course, we have Felicity breaks up with Ray, and or sorry, yeah, she breaks up with Ray, and he references in last week's episode how he saw that obviously when Felicity was saying goodbye to Roy, that he noticed that she still had feelings for Oliver, and that the reason why you can't tell me you love me is because you're still in love with Oliver. And she's basically just standing there like, yep, can I borrow your jet? And so it was just kind of like, that's the one thing I hate with these shows. Why bring in a love interest if you're not gonna like let it play out? And I get it. We all know that she loves Oliver, but let her get over him because he's already said multiple times that he can't invest in her the way that she wants him to. So let her be in a normal relationship. But of course, the show lets it last like 3 episodes, and then she basically breaks up with him. And Oliver and Felicity have a couple of good scenes together on the plane. They're having that conversation. He's explaining, when I first came back to Starling City, I saw Felicity. I mean, I saw my sister, and she didn't see me. So he's like, once again opening up more and more to Felicity. And of course, later on in the episode, Raza. Okay, this scene when Oliver basically says, yeah, I'm going to stay here. You guys are going to go and take my sister with you. Felicity's all like, no, you're not. This is ridiculous. You're not going. And then she like stomps out and she's like, hey, you there. And she's like talking to Roz like as if she can hold any weight to anything. Like, she's like, you're not going to do this to him. I'm not going to let you leave. Like, I'm not going to leave here and leave him here with you. And I was laughing because it was so laughable, that scene. And I was just like, look, I get it. Felicity's being feisty. She's sticking up for her man. She doesn't want to leave him. She loves him. She doesn't want to see him have to, like, basically be held here against his will. And I get it. I get it all. But that scene was hilarious when she, like, tried to roll up on Roz and be like, I'm not going to let you get away with this. I was like, honey, stay in your lane. Stop the madness. So, of course, he's like, look, I had a love of my life once. I had a kid, I had a son, I had a daughter, and they basically came knocking on my door and said you could either leave without saying goodbye, or you could watch them be tortured and that would kill you anyway. So he leaves his family and he becomes part of this League of Assassins. So he basically says, Felicity, the time is ticking. It's time for you to go say goodbye to your boy. So, of course, she goes in and she has this good conversation with him. And I don't know about you guys. I mean, I don't know. That scene for me personally, don't hate me, people. Don't send all these negative messages on my board. That love scene, and we know that they've never made love before. This is the first time that they've been this intimate. They've kissed. They've both, Oliver said, I love you. She hasn't said it back, and then she tells Oliver she loves him. He takes off her glasses, they start kissing, and then next thing you know, their shirts are coming off and bras are coming off. And I was like, ain't your sister just in the other room, like, recovering from being dead? It was just so weird. Like, you're in this very crazy situation. You're in this new place, and you're going to have sex. Like, I don't know. It just felt, I was actually I'm sorry, guys. I was actually laughing at that scene because it felt so out of place. It really did. For me, personally, it felt like, I get it. This is the last time she's going to see him in a long time, so she wanted to have no regrets. She wanted to, hook up with her boy. But it just felt weird. And watching it felt weird. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what you thought. I don't know. It just felt really weird. Anyway, so of course, they have that moment, and then, the next scene is like, she's like, well, that happened, and then she basically drugs him. She's like, I'm not letting you leave here. And then, she goes to Diggle and Malcolm Merlin, and she's like, I had to do it because I can't leave him here. And then, obviously, Malcolm tells Felicity how to get to the catacombs, and then they go, and then Maceo actually helps them try to get out, and then Oliver wakes up, and so, yeah, they all get out. Oliver stays. And then the ritual and the ceremony begins in how Oliver is ultimately going to turn into, the man in waiting, I guess you could say. He is the demon's heir. Yeah, that was a nice, interesting transformation. So obviously what they branded him on in the back looks like the kind of the arrow symbol that we see at the beginning of the episode, right? It kind of looked like that to me. And he has like the hood on, and he's got like this thing over his mouth, and he kind of looks up with his dark broody eyes, and Raza's giving this big old speech that you are basically no longer the arrow. Oliver Queen is dead, and now you are the Alsahim, and you are the heir of the demon. And it's just like, all right, pretty cool. So yeah, it was a good episode, guys. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I did think the Felicity and Oliver scene was a little out of place. I get it. The show wants them to be together, so fine. I just have to let it happen. And even though I'm not a huge fan of the Olicity or whatever you guys ship them as, that scene just kind of didn't really work for me. I wouldn't, look, if they had done it in last week's episode or something where it just didn't seem so out of place, like, your sister was just resurrected from the dead, you got your boys in the next room, like, it just felt weird. I don't know. You've got all these, like, minions running around. I don't know. It just felt weird. So that's it for me. Okay, guys, let me know what you thought of this week's episode. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will definitely see you next week. Bye, guys.